Today's message is fear versus faith. In 1 John chapter 4 and verse 18, it says, "There is no fear in love, but perfect love casteth out fear, because fear hath torment. He that feareth is not made perfect in love." We read of a man named Jacob, who is now called Israel. In Genesis chapter 46 and verse 1, it says, "And Israel took his journey with all that he had, and came to Beersheba, and offered sacrifices unto the God of his father Isaac." By faith, Israel, once called Jacob, offered sacrifices to God. He did this by faith. But we find something very interesting in verse 2. In Genesis chapter 46 and verse 2, it says, "And God spake unto Israel into the visions of the night, and said, Jacob, Jacob. And he said, Here am I." God had changed his name from Jacob to Israel. So when God spoke to Israel, why did he call him Jacob? That's a good question. Why? In verse 1, this man chose his new nature with his new name by offering sacrifices to God. But in verse 2, God knew this man's old nature, fear. God was telling him to get up and go to Egypt. And in verse 3, God tells this man to fear not. Genesis chapter 46 and verse 3, "And he said, I am God, the God of thy father. Fear not to go down into Egypt, for I will there make of thee a great nation." God spoke to the old nature, the man Israel used to be, Jacob. In verse 5, we see that by faith he went down to Egypt, taking his family with him. If you are lost, you're still living in the old nature, the old man. You live by fear, fearing the judgment of God. For those who are saved, born again, we now have a new nature, a new man, and we are to live our life by faith, rejoicing in the love of God. Colossians chapter 3 and verse 9 and 10, it says, "Seeing that you have put off the old man with his deeds and have put on the new man." When life gets tough, many times we'll turn back to the old man, and fear grabs our hearts. Today, trust God with your life. Are you tired of living in fear? Put on the new man. Live the life of faith, and God will give you a new name. Our God is calling you out of fear into love. Now here's your truth to take with you today. It's in 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 17. "Therefore, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new." May God's grace be with you.